You don't let go because it's easy. You let go because holding on is killing you. Nobody talks about that part. They tell you to be kind, to forgive, to move on. They never tell you what it costs to stay chained to people who drain your soul. Toxicity doesn't always come screaming. Sometimes it smiles. Sometimes it wears loyalty like a mask. Sometimes it calls itself love. And you endure it because you're strong, because you can take it, because you've taken worse. That's the trap. The strongest people suffer the longest because they believe pain is proof of character. They confuse endurance with purpose. They confuse loyalty with virtue. They confuse silence with strength. And slowly, quietly, something inside them starts to rot. You feel it first at night, when the noise stops, when the distractions die, when you're alone with your thoughts and your chest feels heavy for no clear reason. That's not weakness. That's your spirit begging you to stop betraying it. Every time you tolerate disrespect, you teach the world how to treat you. Every time you excuse betrayal, you tell your soul it doesn't matter. Every time you stay where you are diminished, you shrink. People don't destroy you all at once. They erode you, word by word, look by look, broken promise by broken promise. And the worst part is this: they rarely think they're doing anything wrong. Toxic people don't wake up plotting your downfall. They wake up thinking about themselves, their needs, their insecurities, their hunger for control. Your pain is collateral damage, so you bleed quietly. You rationalize, you pray, you hope they'll change. But hope without boundaries is self-harm. There comes a moment, if you're brave enough to face it, when you realize the truth. Not everyone who walks with you is meant to walk with you forever. Not everyone who knows your wounds deserves access to them. Not everyone who says your name deserves your loyalty. That realization hurts more than betrayal itself. Because now you can't pretend anymore. Letting go feels like failure at first. It feels like giving up. It feels like weakness. But it isn't. Letting go is war, a silent one. Fought inside your chest where nobody claps for you. Where nobody sees the nights you argue with yourself. Where nobody hears the prayers whispered through clenched teeth. Faith isn't soft. Real faith is brutal. Faith means trusting that losing people won't cost you your destiny. Faith means believing that solitude is sometimes protection. Faith means walking away without revenge and still sleeping at night. That's power most people will never touch. See, toxicity feeds on reaction. It feeds on your anger, your guilt, your explanations, your need to be understood. When you stop reacting, it starves. But before that happens, there's a phase nobody warns you about: loneliness. When you let go, the noise disappears. The chaos stops, and suddenly there's space. Space is terrifying when you've lived in survival mode for too long. You start questioning yourself. Was I too harsh? Did I overreact? Am I the problem? That's conditioning talking. That's years of manipulation echoing in your head. If peace feels unfamiliar, it's because chaos was normalized. Toxic bonds train you to mistake intensity for love, drama for connection, suffering for depth. So when life becomes quiet, you panic. But silence is where growth begins. This is where Stoicism steps in, not as a philosophy, but as a weapon. You stop begging the world to be fair. You stop needing closure from people who never cared about your healing. You accept one cold, liberating truth. You cannot control others. You can only control who gets access to you. That acceptance doesn't come with fireworks. It comes with grief. You grieve the version of them you hoped they'd become. You grieve the future you imagined. You grieve the time you invested. And then, slowly, something shifts. Your energy returns. Your mind clears. Your decisions stop being emotional reactions and start becoming deliberate choices. That's growth, not motivational quotes, not fake positivity. Growth is learning to sit with discomfort without running back to what hurt you just to feel familiar pain. Faith plays a different role here than people expect. Faith isn't asking for people to change. Faith is trusting that God removes people you're too attached to release on your own. Some doors don't close because you're weak. They close because you're ready. And yes, it feels unfair. Yes, it feels lonely. Yes, it feels like you're walking through life misunderstood, but strength has always been lonely. The moment you stop tolerating toxicity, you step into a different frequency, a quieter one, a sharper one. You stop explaining yourself. You stop chasing validation. You stop lowering your standards just to keep company, and that scares people who benefited from your silence. They'll call you cold, arrogant, changed. They're right. You changed because pain taught you what peace costs. You changed because betrayal taught you discernment. You changed because faith taught you that self-respect is not optional. This isn't about becoming cruel. It's about becoming precise. You no longer give everyone access to your heart. You no longer bleed for people who wouldn't bandage your wounds. You no longer fight battles that distract you from your purpose. And here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. Letting go is the first act of real power. Not dominance over others, dominance over yourself. When you can walk away without screaming, without revenge, without needing the last word, that's mastery. It doesn't mean you forgot what they did. It means you refuse to let it define you. And still, the hardest part is ahead. Because once you let go of toxicity, you're left with yourself, your habits, your shadows, your unresolved pain. You can't blame anyone anymore. That's where growth either solidifies or collapses. And that's where this journey truly begins. Once the noise is gone, you hear everything you were running from. Your own thoughts get louder. Your memories sharpen. The pain you postponed demands payment. This is where most people turn back. They miss the chaos. They miss the familiar hurt. They miss having someone to blame, so they reopen doors that almost destroyed them. Not because it's right, but because it's known. Pain you recognize feels safer than peace you don't understand. This phase is dangerous, because now the enemy isn't them anymore. It's your mind. You start replaying moments, conversations, smiles that weren't real, promises that never landed. You analyze every detail, hoping to find proof that leaving wasn't a mistake. But here's the truth. If you need proof, the damage already happened. Healthy connections don't leave you confused. They don't drain your spirit. They don't force you to abandon yourself to keep them. Still, your mind fights back. It tells you to soften the memory, to remember the good times, to ignore the patterns. That's attachment speaking, not wisdom. Attachment doesn't care about your future. It only cares about comfort. This is where Stoicism becomes survival. You stop asking, why did they do this to me? You start asking, why did I allow it? That question cuts deeper, because now responsibility enters the room. Not blame, responsibility. You begin to see how your empathy was exploited, how your patience became permission, how your silence taught people they could cross lines without consequence. That realization hurts, because it means you participated in your own suffering. But it also means something powerful. If you played a role, you can change the ending. Most people never reach this point. They stay trapped in victimhood because it protects their ego. Growth demands humility. It demands you admit that you stayed too long, that you ignored red flags because you wanted the story to work, that you sacrificed boundaries to feel chosen. This isn't self-hate. This is self-awareness. And awareness is the beginning of power. Now the psychology shifts. You start noticing patterns, not just in them, in you. Why you attract certain personalities, why you overgive, why you feel responsible for fixing broken people. Often, it comes from old wounds, from childhood, from abandonment, from proving your worth through endurance. You learned early that love had to be earned through pain. So when someone treats you badly, It feels familiar, even validating. But familiar doesn't mean healthy. Your nervous system confuses chaos with connection. So calm feels empty. Stillness feels wrong. That's why letting go feels like withdrawal, because it is. You're detoxing from emotional addiction, and detox is ugly. You'll feel restless, irritable, unmotivated, numb. You'll want distractions, anything to avoid sitting with yourself. This is where faith stops being an idea and becomes an anchor. Not faith that everything will feel good, faith that suffering has meaning. Faith that discipline now prevents destruction later. Faith that solitude is shaping you, not punishing you. You begin to understand that God doesn't always remove pain immediately. Sometimes He removes the people causing it and lets you face what's left. That's mercy disguised as loss. But the ego resists. It wants answers, apologies, closure. Here's a hard truth. Closure is something you give yourself, not something you receive. Waiting for someone who hurt you to validate your pain keeps them in control. The moment you stop needing their understanding, the chain breaks. This is where revenge fantasies show up, quietly. Late at night, you imagine them realizing what they lost, feeling regret, suffering the way you did. That's normal. But don't mistake imagination for healing. Revenge keeps you emotionally tethered. It keeps your energy focused on the past. Stoicism teaches something colder, something sharper. Indifference is the real victory, not pretending you don't care, but reaching a place where their actions no longer move you. That takes time and discipline. You stop checking, stop asking, stop reopening wounds just to feel something. You choose self-control over emotional chaos, and slowly, your identity starts to shift. You're no longer the person who reacts. You're the person who observes. You see manipulation faster. You hear disrespect sooner. You feel discomfort and don't suppress it. That's growth. But it comes with isolation. Because once you change, your old environment feels foreign. Conversations feel shallow. People feel predictable. Energy feels off. You realize how many relationships were built on shared trauma, not shared values. So you pull back, not out of arrogance, out of clarity. And yes, people notice. They ask why you're distant, why you're quiet, why you don't engage like before. You don't explain. Explanation invites debate. Silence sets boundaries. This is when loneliness deepens. Not the loneliness of being alone. The loneliness of being different. You're no longer numb enough to tolerate nonsense, but not healed enough to fully trust again. You're in between. This is the crucible. This is where many relapse emotionally. They settle, they compromise, they return to what broke them. Because growth is uncomfortable, and comfort is tempting. But every time you resist, something strengthens inside you. Your self-respect hardens, your standards rise, your tolerance for manipulation drops to zero. You stop romanticizing suffering. You realize strength isn't how much pain you can endure for others. It's how much truth you can accept about yourself. And the truth is this: some people were lessons, not lifetimes. They were meant to reveal your limits, not test them endlessly. Once you accept that, the guilt fades. You stop feeling bad for choosing yourself. You stop apologizing for boundaries. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. And still, the question lingers. Why did it have to be this way? Why betrayal? Why isolation? Why loss? Because comfort never creates kings. Pressure does. Faith isn't about being spared. It's about being prepared. Prepared to stand alone if necessary. Prepared to walk away without hatred. Prepared to build a life that doesn't depend on anyone's approval. You're being trained, not for popularity, for strength, and the final stage is approaching. The moment where pain stops being a wound and becomes fuel. Where silence becomes strategy. Where your presence carries weight without effort. But that comes with a price. You must fully release who you were. The version that needed validation. The version that over-explained. the version that begged to be chosen. That version can't follow you where you're going. And letting it die hurts, but rebirth always does. There's a moment when the pain stops screaming. It doesn't disappear. It changes tone. It becomes quiet, heavy, focused. That's when you know you've crossed the line most never reach. You're no longer trying to heal. You're trying to refine. This is where transformation begins. You stop seeing yourself as someone who survived something. You start seeing yourself as someone who was shaped by it. The scars stop embarrassing you. They become proof. Proof that you endured without becoming weak. Proof that you lost people and didn't lose yourself. Proof that betrayal didn't turn you into what hurt you. That restraint is power. Real power isn't loud. It doesn't threaten. It doesn't explain. It observes. It waits. It moves when the moment is right. You no longer rush to fill the silence with noise. You don't need constant connection to feel alive. Solitude becomes strategic. In solitude, your thoughts sharpen. Your discipline strengthens. Your emotions stop running the show. You start building routines instead of excuses, standards instead of expectations, principles instead of attachments. This is where Stoicism stops being a concept and becomes a code. You accept that life is unfair, and you stop demanding it be otherwise. You accept that people disappoint, and you stop being surprised. You accept that loss is inevitable, and you stop clinging. Acceptance doesn't make you passive, it makes you precise. You choose where to invest. You choose when to speak. You choose when to walk away without hesitation. That ability terrifies people who still operate on emotion. Because you're no longer predictable. You don't argue. You don't chase. You don't react. You let people reveal themselves, and then you decide, coldly, calmly, what access they deserve. Most get none. Not out of bitterness, out of clarity. Faith deepens here in a way that's hard to explain. You stop asking for signs. You start trusting instincts sharpened by pain. You realize God didn't abandon you during your suffering. He isolated you so you could hear Him without interference. When everything was taken, what remained was essential. Your values, your discipline, your ability to endure without applause. That's when you understand something most never will. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to stand apart. And yes, the desire for revenge still whispers sometimes. But it's weaker now, duller, because you've learned a truth far more dangerous than anger. The best revenge is becoming untouchable. Not emotionally, not mentally, not spiritually. You stop needing others to fail for you to feel whole. You stop measuring your worth against their regret. Your life becomes the statement. Success doesn't have to be public. Peace doesn't have to be visible. Power doesn't have to be announced. You carry it in how little you explain, in how easily you walk away, in how steady you remain under pressure. People feel it. They may not understand what changed, but they sense it. Your presence is calmer, heavier, more controlled. You're no longer fueled by pain. You're powered by purpose, and purpose is ruthless. It demands sacrifice. It demands consistency. It demands you stay disciplined even when no one is watching. Especially then. You protect your energy like a weapon, your time like currency, your attention like something sacred, because you learn the hard way what happens when you give those things to the wrong people. This is the final evolution. You don't need many connections. You need aligned ones. You don't need constant validation. You need inner alignment. You don't need to be understood. You need to be effective. And the loneliness that once felt like punishment now feels like freedom. Freedom from manipulation. Freedom from obligation. Freedom from emotional chaos disguised as love. You don't numb yourself anymore. You don't distract yourself from discomfort. You face it. You master it. Pain becomes information. Emotion becomes data. Experience becomes wisdom. You move slower, but with intent. You speak less, But with weight, you trust fewer people, but more deeply. And here's the final truth. Letting go of toxicity wasn't about them. It was about you becoming who you were always meant to be. Strong without cruelty, calm without weakness, faithful without dependence. You didn't lose people, you lost illusions. And in return, you gained yourself. That's not healing, that's ascension. So if you're standing alone right now, if the silence feels heavy, if the path ahead looks empty, good. That's where power is forged. Stay disciplined, stay faithful, stay dangerous but controlled. Because the strongest people don't seek revenge. They build lives so solid, so focused, so unshakable, that the past can never reach them again.